Hey y'all, Chelsea and Danny here.
Enjoy this episode of Today's Homeowner here on YouTube. This space was a 30-year-old kitchen. We're about to modernize it.
Today's Homeowner with Danny Lipford, the voice of home improvement, with projects, tips, and ideas to help you improve your home.
People remodel their kitchens for a lot of different reasons. In this case, the homeowners have recently become empty nesters, so they thought it would be a perfect time to get just the kind of kitchen they've always wanted. Now, the plan is to really keep the budget in mind in the overall renovation. So we started by removing all of the cabinets, as you can see. But some of the ways we're going to save money is the design allows all of the fixtures and appliances to remain in the same spot. That means the electrical work and plumbing work will be minimal. Also, many of the appliances that were taken out of the original kitchen will be reused because they're in great shape. They were updated just 3 or 4 years ago. So that's very important. Anytime you're planning a kitchen, keep that budget in mind with some of those considerations. Now, the original kitchen was very typical for a 30-year-old kitchen. It was a galley style and it had dark cabinets, laminate countertops, fairly simple, but by the end of this half hour, this room is going to look a lot different. As I mentioned earlier, the house we're working on here is about 30 years old, and the original kitchen really looked like the 70s. Well, so does the den that's adjacent to it, and we're planning on doing a little work in here to modernize this space as well. The old dark paneling of the 70s, very, very popular, and we also discovered what may have been the original carpet in the house. Look at this multicolored shag. I mean, what were we thinking back then? This was discovered under a built-in cabinet section that we removed to open this room up a little bit. Now, of course, all of the flooring will be replaced, and to brighten the room up a bit, we'll be priming and painting all of the paneling. Now, another effort to brighten things up, we've added a few recessed cans. We have 4 different recessed lights in this room, and this is a special recessed housing called a remodel can. You're able to trace the line for the circle on the ceiling, cut it out, then it slips up into the ceiling so that you can minimize the amount of damage that occurs to the ceiling. That's another effort to keep the cost down on this project by not replacing any sheetrock unless it's absolutely necessary. Now, another trend to kind of modernize a kitchen and den combination is to create as much space as you can. Now, we're not going to be removing any walls, but what we did remove was a pantry that was right here, and it kind of blocked the view and took up a lot of space in the kitchen. So by removing it, it made a big difference already in the feel of the space. Now, a lot more demolition had to take place to get this project moving. This kitchen was certainly in bad need of an update with its dark cabinets and ancient wallpaper, but the owners had kept it functional over the years with new appliances. Since these will be reused, the crew took special care in removing them before wading into the walls and cabinets. The fur downs over the wall cabinets were made of paneling, so they came out pretty easily, but the pantry, it was another story. It took a lot of effort to remove this. The cabinets were stout too, unattractive but very well built, so they came out in a few very large sections. And the very attractive laminate pattern on the counters had also been used to cover the walls, so when removed it left quite a glue residue on the drywall. Mark, our drywall finisher, had to deal with this as well as a number of other small patches to get the walls in shape for painting. Keeping the plumbing and electrical changes to a minimum saved a lot of time here, not to mention the money it saved the owners. Cleaning up the wall where the pantry was removed was the biggest chore, but it went quickly too. As the last little bit of drywall sanding was wrapping up, the cabinets were arriving to begin filling up the space. These cabinets were custom designed for this space, so they need to go into a specific spot. An experienced installer like Ron will also have a plan for the order in which they're set so he can speed up the process and ensure a pretty good fit. Here he's hanging the wall cabinets first so that he won't have to climb over the base cabinets to do the rest of the work. These guys use a ton of screws, but each one is placed so that it won't be visible in the finished kitchen. When the base cabinets start to go in, there are a few modifications here and there to be made, and whether the cabinets are custom or stock, the cutouts for outlets and plumbing fixtures need to be made on site just before they're installed so the fit is just right. Now, a pro like Ron can knock this out quickly, but if you're doing it yourself, you need to be sure to take your time and double check your measurements so that you don't mess up a good set of cabinets. When all the cabinet boxes are in place, there are just a few trim details left to finish the job. As soon as the cabinet installation was complete, our painter was out on the job to cover up all of the finished cabinets with a lightweight plastic so that the painting could take place. Now, some painters prefer to paint at least one coat on the walls before the cabinets are installed, but really it's kind of a waste of time and money to paint behind areas that you'll never ever see. Of course, when you're painting around finished cabinets like this, you have to be very careful, and Michael, our painter, certainly has done this a lot, knows what he's doing, but he has a lot of challenges in this type of paint job where you have new drywall, old drywall, paneling. Well, we'll show you how he's overcoming some of these challenges when we talk with him in just a little bit, right after our simple solution.
It's time for this week's Simple Solution from home repair expert Joe Truini.
Sawhorses are invaluable when you need to cut large sheet goods like pieces of plywood. But in order to make the cut safely, you need to support the entire sheet. Now, you often see people put 2x4s or 2x2s on top of the sawhorses to support the sheet, but that creates two problems. One, they can easily be knocked off the sawhorses, and secondly, as you make the cut, the plywood has a tendency to sag in and pinch the blade. I'll show you how I solved those problems here. I simply took and notched each sawhorse, cutting 1.5 inches deep, then knocking out the waste piece with a hammer. Then I took two long 2x2s and just set them in the notches. Now, not only does it lock them in place, but you see it creates a smooth surface so the plywood lays flush across the 2x2 supports and the sawhorses. So now as you make the cuts, there's no pinching of the blade, and you have a nice, safe, easy cut.
We're back out on a kitchen renovation that's really moving along very well. All of the old cabinets were removed, all of the new cabinets have been installed, and we're right in the process of painting. We even have our countertop contractor out to measure the tops. It'll be going in a few days, but before that, there's still a good bit of painting to be done. Now, like any painting project, you generally will start at the very top and work your way down. And the top here was a fairly stubborn ceiling that we had to deal with. Now, our sheetrock finisher did a great job in matching up the texture of the acoustic or popcorn type ceiling, but there was quite a color variation between the old and the new. That's where we had to call in for a rescue with Michael, our painter. Now, how did you approach that? I've seen homeowners try to paint an acoustic or popcorn type ceiling. It wasn't very easy. You made it look pretty darn easy.
Right. What I find that's very helpful is to use a 3/8 snap roller, and it normally takes 2 coats to finish it. And the key to it is not to overload your roller nap because you can pull the acoustic off.
Oh, okay. Well, I've actually done that myself.
Right.
And then you end up with a 3rd coat of paint on
Exactly.
it after that. But sure turned out nice, and the texturing that our drywall finisher did kind of helped that part of it
Yes, it
out.
did.
So once you got past that, this is where a lot of the work comes in. This old paneling from the 70s here. A lot of people are considering painting paneling in their own house. Give us some tips on how to do it right.
Sure. The first thing I'll do is wipe it clean. Come back and putty all the nail holes, caulk any kind of cracks.
Right.
Use a 100 grit sandpaper to rough the surface up.
So instead of smoothing with the sandpaper, you're actually kind of roughing it up so that you get that adhesion that you need.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And what I'm using here is a tinted 100% acrylic latex primer.
Okay.
And that will bond to the sanded paneling, and then it'll be ready for the
finish coat after
finish
that.
coat.
Well, I'll tell you, the primer tinting it a little bit like that really does make a difference in
Right.
terms of having that finish coat covered up real well. I know that's a great tip to go with, but I know that after you do all of that, you still have kind of a different approach on the trim.
That's correct. Basically, what I'll do on that to prep it, same thing, sand it down, caulk, putty, and then in this case, the homeowner wants oil-based finish coat, so I'll go with an oil-based primer and then put 2 coats of oil-based finish coat on.
I see. All right, that should really produce a pretty high gloss then if you're using
Yes.
oil on all of that. Well, I tell you, every brush stroke and every roller mark takes a little bit more of the 70s out of this house. While Michael continues with the painting, the tile setter has gotten busy laying the new ceramic in the kitchen, and the transformation is closer to completion, something the homeowners Jim and Peggy McHenry are excited about for a lot of reasons.
You know, we have 5 kids and 9 with a 10th grandchild on the way, so we entertain during the holidays especially. So, you know, the kitchen, the pull-out drawers, we have a built-in spice rack, and the countertops, and it just provides a more a newer look, a more comfortable look. we'll probably replace the dinette table we had. Had been here since we've been here too. It's 18 years, so you know, it'll be just more functional during those times.
Before we had to put all the food on the kitchen table to serve, and we'd serve a buffet style. Now we'll be able to utilize that much larger counter space. We had talked about maybe making the whole kitchen and dining room the kitchen area, but we decided at our age we really didn't want to go much larger and spend that much more on that type of an area, because you know we are trying to ease into what?
More
What do you
relaxed, retired lifestyle.
Yes.
A lot of people our age are, you know, approaching retirement. They really they want to downsize, or they want to get something newer, but you know, nowadays with the cost of housing is kind of prohibitive. So this is something that was the answer for us.
The painting the paneling has really opened up that area much more. It's more open lighting, and it's more modern looking that way. So we're really excited about that too, and we're going to recarpet, so it'll be a whole new look. Just, you know, we feel like it'll look like a new house for us.
Peggy's right. It's starting to look like a whole new house, but we still have plenty of work to do. So while the painting and the tile work continue, why don't you check out this week's Best New Product?
Let's join Danny at the Home Center to check out this week's best new product.
If you have a garage, you know how fast it can fill up, and many homeowners are finding they can't even fit their car in the garage anymore. The key to getting your garage back in order is getting things up off the floor. The Fast Track system from Rubbermaid does just that by creating vertical and horizontal storage. There are a variety of accessories and shelves to hang everything from a bike to garden tools and sports equipment. You just determine your storage needs and hang the Fast Track rail, then snap hooks, shelving, brackets, and other accessories onto the rail. If you can hang a picture, you can install this hook and rail system. The rail system is pre-punched for all standard stud widths, or you can install the individual accessories directly to a stud. The system is made of a heavy-duty steel, so it should last a long time, and the rubber coating on the accessories is designed to get a good grip on everything. The 56-inch rail system will support up to 1,750 pounds, and depending on the accessories you use, you can set up an entire garage for less than $100. Covered there, Michael. Our project this week is where we're trying to breathe a little new life into a 70s style den and kitchen. Now we've moved right along on making a big difference in this room, the den, by painting the old dark paneling, and Michael's in the process of putting a nice fresh coat of paint on the trim that originally was dark stained. Now it'll be bright white. We'll finish up this room by replacing all of the carpet, and big difference will be seen in this room. But most of the work on this project is being done in the kitchen, where we started with a 35-year-old kitchen that needed a little help, especially after surviving 5 kids being raised in this house. Now, we'd removed all of the old cabinets, the new cabinets came in, and the homeowners, Jim and Peggy, are real excited about the progress that's being made, but particularly one area where they splurged a little bit on the budget, and that's the granite countertops. The granite Peggy has chosen is called White Springs, and she's counting on the colors in the stone's veining to inspire some accents for the kitchen's otherwise fairly neutral color palette. The cutout for the sink was made on site in the McHenry's front yard, but everything else was simply glued in place and sealed around the edges. Peggy also made a wise choice for the grout that's being used on the ceramic. Because she selected a dark color, she won't have to worry as much about stains. Now, with the countertops and floors finished, the only things missing are the appliances, and since we're reusing the existing ones, we don't even have to wait on delivery. Everything came together in this kitchen over the last couple days, and the homeowners are already enjoying this updated space. Now that they've moved in, we can kind of get an idea of how well this kitchen is working for them. Now, they chose a number of different things that were added in the kitchen to make it more convenient and allow access to every part of the cabinetry. Now, drawers are a great addition to a kitchen. Instead of having 2 doors, to divide it up into 3 drawers like this, with the top drawer matching the other drawers, and then the space being made up by the other 2. Very accessible, and that works very well for a roll-out tray like we have on this side of the stove, for all the pots and pans. Very easy to get to any of these. And to compensate for some of the space they lost when we removed the large pantry that was here in the original kitchen, we did the same thing here to create a under-counter pantry that works perfectly for all those canned goods. Now, rarely do we build a kitchen or remodel a kitchen that we don't have one of these, a roll-out garbage can, and this one has enough space for another can for recycling. And of course the tilt-outs on the front of the sink, very popular because we always have something we can stick down in the little trays on the front of the kitchen sink. Now, about the only thing that's left to complete in this renovation is the installation of all of the carpet that'll go here once the old carpet is removed. And the homeowners have decided, instead of replacing the carpet just in this room, they're taking it down the hall and into several of the bedrooms. Now, it's not uncommon when you roll back carpet and pad that's been down for many, many years to find what can disturb a lot of homeowners, a large crack running across the room. Now, this type of crack is an expansion-contraction crack, which is just one of the properties of having a house like this that's on a concrete slab. Now, to kind of get an idea if it's a serious crack, which would be a settling crack, all you have to do is to put a straight edge across the crack itself, and if it's nice and flat, you probably don't have any problem at all. But if one side is a good bit lower than the other side, it's time to make your contractor aware of it or call in a structural engineer to take a closer look at it. Hey, we're going to show you everything complete and where we started on this project right after our Around the Yard.
Let's head outside for Around the Yard with lawn and garden expert Tricia Craven-Worley.
I love the look of moss growing on old stones or brick or block walls, and actually I like it so much I've even tried to get it to grow on my pots. It gives it that old world look. But you know, one place you really don't want moss to grow is on any kind of flat surface, including stairs. I know because one time I tripped on some moss and really hurt my hip really badly. But you can see here we've got some moss growing on the side of the step, and here's some growing on this tread as well, and up here. Now, there's a really easy way to take care of this, and that is I take a scraper of some sort, like a putty knife, and you can just scrape it off. After that, I mix a concoction of equal parts of water and bleach together, and then I scrub it on that area. Now, you can see we have some little volunteers growing here. You know, whatever this bleach mixture hits, it's going to kill. So that if you don't want it to get killed, make sure you protect that surrounding area as well as your clothing. And one final thing is that once you've used this, it's really going to help prevent that growing back.
Jim and Peggy McHenry waited years for this kitchen renovation, and now that it's all complete, it certainly looks like their patience paid off. This kitchen was over 30 years old, and it was starting to show its age. Plus, the adjoining den was also a time capsule from the 70s, so we had our work cut out for us. We removed all of the cabinets, countertops, and flooring from the kitchen, as well as a pantry closet that interrupted the flow of the room. After a few repairs to the walls and ceilings, we installed a great new set of cabinets, some beautiful granite countertops, and a brand new ceramic floor. We were able to reuse their appliances, which were about the only part of the kitchen that was from this century. Then the den got a bright new coat of paint over the old dark paneled walls and new carpeting, minus the wear and tear from years of little feet and Kool-Aid spills. The result is a beautiful space that the McHenrys can enjoy themselves and share with their adult children when they come home. With the pantry gone, there's more countertop space for those big holiday meals, and the new cabinets more than make up for any loss of storage space. Jim and Peggy waited for their kids to grow up and move out of the house before they started this renovation. That gave them plenty of time to plan everything out and establish a budget for the project. Now, that's important to really think about what you want to accomplish, put a plan together to make it happen, and know exactly how much it's going to cost, because those are the keys to a successful renovation. Now, if you've been dreaming of ways to improve your home, take a few minutes, write them all down on a list, then join us next week as we help you take care of a few of those. I'm Danny Lipford. We'll see you soon. Thanks for watching this episode of Today's Homeowner. And don't forget to like, comment, and hit the bell icon so that you'll be notified of new videos.
And be sure to click around and watch some more videos while you're here.